Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Chameleon Academy. This Saturday, we're having a micro learning about the locales of Parson's chameleons. I want to welcome you all here for a fun day, just learning about chameleons and hanging out with the chameleon community. And I see the first person here is Konstantinos from Greece. Wonderful to see you. Let's see, what time is it over there? I don't know. It's always interesting to figure out what time it is. So everybody, thank you very much for joining. Hello, Mason, Aquatic Moose. Seeing that name again. Okay, Liza Ann is asking the important question. For those new here, just know that this is a live presentation, and we have a spirited audience, and so this is a highly an audience participation event. And Kiki, we need to know if you've opened your 3D printer yet. We all want to know. Hello, Natalie. So I'm going to go ahead and just bring up our presentation for the day. And what I'm doing is I'm experimenting with micro learning in these live sessions. And so that's what we're going to be doing. This is something that I'm going to be perfecting and bringing in force into 2025. And at the end of this presentation, we're going to be talking about the Chameleon Academy going forward. So first half is going to be about Parson's Chameleons locales. Second half, we're going to bring on our very own Eliza Ann Kornberg, who's going to be giving us a insight in a history into Treebeard, her panther chameleon. And we know that he's been he had to go through some intamoeba deparasitization. And now we're going to be talking about what his life looks like now, obviously, with the intention that we could all learn from that experience. So let's see. Okay, yeah, back on the 3D printer. Yeah, Eliza Ann saying she's going to open hers before Kiki opens hers. Yes, for those wondering, Kiki has got a 3D printer that she's been had in the box since about this time last year. I think that's something like that. So anyway, now this is a live interactive show, and so we will have a presentation, but we will be taking questions all through this entire presentation. And a case in point, Aquatic Moose says, how do people feel about chameleons in large glass terrariums like Exoterra these days? And Aquatic Moose, I will answer that. If the big problem with glass terrariums is we usually don't have them in the sizes necessary for chameleons to be happy. Generally, they're smaller than what we need. And so you need to keep very small chameleons. Now, the age-old myth in the chameleon community about chameleons needing screen cages, that's not true. Chameleons do great inside of glass enclosures, and glass is sometimes the most appropriate material. Glass retains humidity and heat. And if that's what you need in your environment, then glass is the best material for you. If your environment already has the humidity, already has the right temperatures, then screen is the right material for you. For most of us, we're somewhere in between that. And like where I am, I want the humidity retention. My temperatures are usually pretty good, but I need the humidity retention. That's why we go to hybrid cages. Now, if you're going to be doing hybrid or glass cages, you have to make sure it has some sort of ventilation, some sort of air exchange. That's what the chimney effect is, and your Exoterras have this. You'll notice there's vents below the door, and then there's a screen top. That is what's required for the chimney effect, and that gets your air exchange. That is necessary. 32 by 40, 24 by 48 is not good for a veiled chameleon. They are going to want larger than that. And yeah, your 2 by 2 by 4 is the common cage size for panthers and veileds. Although I would like to recommend, if you can, go to 4 foot by 2 foot by 4 foot. The males of the species get pretty large. Now you could have a female panther chameleon in those sizes. But all right. So how about we start talking about Parsons Chameleons locales here. And by the way, keep those questions coming. First of all, Parsons Chameleon. They are these wonderful beasts, and they are essentially, I would arguably the largest chameleon. Some people argue about whether they're the longest or what, but as far as bulk, generally speaking, let's consider it the largest chameleon. And they have a wonderful temperament most of the time, most of them. Some of them can be pretty out there. They generally have the reputation as being like the king of chameleons. Everybody wants a Parsons chameleon. And I have to say that that reputation is earned and is true. People who have Parsons chameleons, they know it just feels like it's a chameleon on a different level. So I gotta admit, in this case, they live up to the hype. Now, as far as care, and we're just going to touch on care because really this is about the locales of Parsons chameleons. The care is not that hard. They're very hardy chameleons. You just have to give them very large enclosures. They want it humid. They want it cool. So essentially kind of like Jackson's chameleons. But other than that, everything else is big and a lot of food. And so this is why, even though they're a very hardy chameleon, I am cautious to say, go out and get a Parsons chameleon. You can be successful if you dedicate yourself to doing it right. So our wonderful Parsons chameleons are from Madagascar, and they are only from Madagascar. And here's the problem. Not the problem. Here's the wonderful thing about Parsons chameleons is that there's a number of different locales. Now, when we have a species of chameleon, and this is let's see, how do I say it? When we have a lot of variation within a species of chameleon, we, especially in the pet community, we need a way of differentiating them. Even if science looks at this and says, wow, we can see that there's a big difference between this Parsons chameleon from the South and the Parsons chameleon from the Middle East. But in the ways that science defines a species, they're not different enough. And this is where we start getting into the question as to just what is a species. Parsons chameleons, they do have a subspecies. The one that you normally know about is Caluma parsonii, but there is a smaller subspecies called Caluma parsonii Christopher, and I'm going to be showing you pictures of these. Another parallel situation happens with panther chameleons. We have one species, but we have so many different locales. Now, in panther chameleons, we in the community decided to name them based on where they came from, which is an accurate way to identify a panther chameleon. Ambilobe, Ambanja, Nosy those are all places on the map in Madagascar where these panther chameleons come from. Parsons chameleons have the same situation, except for whatever reason, we didn't identify the different color variations based on where they came from. We based it on what it looked like. And so with Parsons chameleons, you get orange eye, which has an orange eye, yellow lips. And so we arbitrarily decided to identify these different locales based on how they looked instead of where they came from. Now, that may be because we didn't know where they came from when we started having to identify them. Absolutely possible, especially in the early days when these were imported. Not a lot of information came out from the exporter-importer. People guarded where they came from, and so we didn't know where they came from necessarily. In fact, the Ambilobe panther chameleon is an example. When that first came in, the person who was exporting it called them Picasso morph because our locale, because he didn't want people to know where they came from. And so this is probably why, this is my guess. I don't know this for sure, but this is probably why Parsons chameleons, the locales were identified by their physical features, not where they came from. So let's see. Nate is asking, will you cover if care differs based on geographical range, or is it all generally the same among locales? Nate, at this point, to my knowledge, I don't know that we have established different care husbandry for the different locales. It's the same exact same thing with panther chameleons. And I have no idea. Panther chameleons actually have a wider range from sea level up to 1,000 meters. Why? And across the land mass of Madagascar. Why in the world are they all that nobody can figure out if taking care of them differently makes it better for certain locales? I don't know. And as far as I know, at this point, we haven't determined that any of these locales of Parsons chameleons need to be treated differently. Of course, as soon as if anybody has different information, let me know. And we're just still learning so much about Parsons chameleons. That's an awesome photo. Who took that? Well, actually, Diane Solani, Reptiliatus, took this photo of me and Parsons chameleon. So actually, I should reference, give him credit on that. What is the recommended cage size for a Parsons chameleon? At the very least, 4 foot wide by 2 foot deep by 4 foot tall. But I would feel much better with a 5 foot by 30 inches by 5 foot, and even better with a 6 foot tall, 7 foot tall walk-in enclosure. So, all right. So let's talk. What is subspecies, locales, and morphs? We hear these names bounced around a lot. Subspecies is when it's a taxonomical term to where scientists have said, all right, these guys are similar enough to be part of the same species, Kaluma parsoni, but they are different enough that we're going to give them a subspecies. In our case, we have parsonii and Parsonii Christopher. Now, within these are scientifically recognized. Unfortunately, CITES only recognizes to the species level, and that becomes significant. We'll talk about it afterwards, but very significant. Let's see. Just love the yellow Parsons. They are so adorable. Eliza Ann, you have a good eye, and you are absolutely correct. I affirm this. Do female Parsons all look similar like female panthers do? I'm going to be talking about this on the next slide. I'll give you a hint. Yes. Caused lots of troubles. We'll be talking about this one. So that's so what is a locale? So these are different areas where the species comes from. And so all of these locales, you're not going to find a yellow lip and an orange eye sitting on the same tree together. They are separate as far as location. You'll find yellow lip in the area where O'Shaughnessy eye is, but you're not going to find these guys in the same area. And in the trip to Madagascar that I'll be taking in January and taking all of you with me, the yellow lip is, we're going to be visiting the yellow lip down south around the Ranamafana area. And then we're going to be visiting the yellow giant somewhere a little bit closer to, let's see, in the middle of our travels. I'm not sure how to describe where we're going to be seeing that. And then we're going to be seeing an orange eye at the end of our trip. So, but we have, and by the way, we're going to be seeing a Christopher, I believe in Andasi Bay. And so we're going to be seeing a wide variety of this, but we have to travel. So that's the question is, morphs. What's a morph? Okay, there's none recognized, but what a morph is a variation within a certain group. And so if you, like, the variation would be, say a yellow lip had very turquoise and then it had, actually, you know what? Let's talk ambilobe. No, okay, let's stick with Parsons. And like, say some in a clutch were more turquoise and some were more green. You could consider those if we arbitrarily decided, okay, we've got the turquoise morph of the yellow lip and we've got the green morph of yellow lip. Those come from the same gene pool. We can mate the like ones and get a higher increase of the turquoise ones, and then we take all the green ones and then we end up getting more green ones, but those are still a morph because they're within the same gene pool. And we don't have any recognized with Parsons chameleons. Usually those are just something that we decide arbitrarily what it is. So let's see. Nate's saying 30 inches is a great depth. You can make it through doorways usually. I built a cage that was 36 inches deep and I had to keep it in my living room since I couldn't fit it through the doorways or build in the room. Yes, 24 inches is, I'm a cage manufacturer. And so for most people, 24 inches is the best depth because that's how far you can reach. When you start getting into 30 inches, it's getting difficult to reach the back of the cage. 36 inches, forget it. You need a door in the back. And so as a cage manufacturer, 24 is the ideal place. I say 30 because when we start dealing with these large chameleons, the depth of the cage is a good idea. The cage designs that I have with Maxim Reptiles, the XL is a 30-inch. And so that is a good, and by the way, yes, they do get hard to move between rooms when they go beyond 24 inches. So don't orange eye and yellow giants look similar? How can we tell the difference? Okay, I'm going to show you the difference as we go on. I have a slide for each one of these locales. Do people cross chameleon species? Some people do. It's very few chameleon species will cross. There are a couple that do, and generally the chameleon community goes, why are you doing that? Yeah, there's no reason to do that. We don't need to do that. So we don't do that. Do morphs prove out like that? Not sure what you mean, but a morph by definition would be the variety within the gene pool. And you can, like Nosy Bay's. Nosy Bay Panther is an excellent example of this. The pure blue Nosy Bay, that is possible in any pairing of Nosy Bays. But it's a rare, it's like a real fringe case. We in captivity, though, we said we like that fringe case. And so we really focused on that. And we were able to produce pure blue Nosy Bay Panther chameleons. But as soon as we got that down, the general community says, okay, we're bored of this. Oh my gosh, that's a blue, but it has little red speckles. Yeah, some of them come out with little red speckles. And now all of a sudden our taste changed. And so the breeder said, all right, let's let the red speckles come through. That was always part of the gene pool. So normally you'll just get a wide variation. We humans like to mess with variations. Hey, Yvette showed up. Yeah, fan party time. Yes, and actually Fantasticus are right around this area. This, what I'm showing here is a female yellow lip Parsons chameleon, and Fantasticus are from this area. So, as discussed, Parsons chameleons, females, this is a big problem. They do look similar. It's very difficult to tell the difference. In fact, I'd say you can't tell the difference. And when females come in and they're labeled certain ways and we trust that labeling, sometimes that labeling is not correct. And actually, I have my, if you remember this guy right here, my beloved blue. Well, originally I wanted an orange eye and I ended up getting the females first. And I got female orange eyes, but then I was given a call later, said, no, you know what? Those are yellow lip. And so now I have yellow lip Parsons. But this is a huge problem because Parsons are able to interbreed. And so the question is, what do we have? What do we have here in captivity? What bloodlines and how much of it is mixed up? And we don't know. And the problem with Parsons chameleons is, yeah, it takes years upon years to get a breeding, then years upon years for those to grow up. And so there's a lot of complications in the Parsons world. Let's see. Okay. All right. Let's talk. This is a yellow lip Parsons chameleon, and one of my favorites. I love the turquoise blue, and of course you see where it gets the name of the yellow lip, and this comes from the Runamafana area. This is the first Parsons locale that we will be seeing in January. Let's see. Do we have known adults that are crossed, and do the show characters? I think so. It's really hard to tell, Nate, because there's variation within the populations, and so it's kind of us looking at it and saying, okay, does this look like a cross? And we don't have a whole lot to compare to. In talking with Parsons chameleon breeders, it's like we're resigned that there are a number of crosses, but we don't know which ones they are. And then, of course, the females, nobody can tell. So males, it's a lot easier to tell, like in panther chameleons. It's easier to tell, okay, this one really is say a yellow lip. But then when you have the babies and they grow up, and this is what, 5 years later, then you're saying, okay, is this a variation within the yellow lip population, the yellow lip gene pool? Or has this been crossed with a yellow giant or an orange eye or something like that? And we really don't have a reliable way to tell that. And so it's a lot of our judgment. So I'm sorry, it's a little bit of a mess. So let's see. Any chameleon can survive with nighttime drops of only 76 degrees. That's pretty warm. They're made, I don't know. Yeah. Nighttime drops are a difficult thing to tell at what point it really is a problem. I would look for a lower elevation. I don't even know if Tigris from the Seychelles, I don't even know how light they'll go, but that's a pretty high temperature. Okay. All right, this is an orange eye for obvious reasons. Now, some people refer to this as the white lip Parsons chameleon instead of the orange eye. And so here's where we start to get into a little bit of a mess, because we have two names for the same chameleon, same locale, but so be it. This is life. Let's see. What would you compare their grip strength to? I see some large branches in the slides. Their grip strength is pain. When they really want to grab on, you see those back legs, those front legs are kind of, okay, I'm going to see where to go. Those back legs, when I was done being held, and in fact, you can probably see in the picture, you get all these little red puncture marks because of their nails. So yeah, I do not recommend holding a Parsons chameleon on your arm. They're not trying to hurt you. They're just a big chameleon, and they need to latch on with enough strength that they can handle being in a cyclone. So your arm or your fingers. Oh my gosh, don't let them grab onto your fingers. Yikes. So Eliza Ann. He's cute now. He'll be cute when he grows up, but he'll be powerful when he grows up. Yes. All right. And this is a yellow giant. Now, you can say, oh, wait, that yellow giant has orange eyes. Well, now you're seeing how much of a mess this can be. Yeah, it's got orange eyes. In fact, when we first saw this Parsons chameleon on our trip, it was raining, and so he wasn't really colored up. But we saw the orange eyes, and it was introduced to us as an orange eye. It wasn't after a while I said, oh, wait a minute. We actually consider this a yellow giant. Once again, nobody's right, nobody's wrong. This is just something that we have designated and decided, oh, that's different. But yellow giants are generally a larger. And this is a green giant, which is actually a little bit bigger than a yellow giant and very, very, very rare. Only recently have I seen pictures of these. And this picture that I took here, I was very lucky to be able to see one in person. So you may hear about it, but probably won't see it you won't see it around for a while. And this is a Caluma Parsonii Christopher. This is a Parson's chameleon. It's about the size of an adult male panther chameleon. And so, I mean, I would say it's a little bit bigger than the O'Shaughnessy. But that is a male. And there is a little babies. I took these pictures in Andasi Bay, and I was able to see them at night. It's very cool. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to get pictures of adults, but I'm going back. I'm gonna get them. Why are green giants so rare? Is it possible to see more in the future? It's because it's very hard to get to where they live. In fact, it was just kind of a rumor that they existed for a while, but they finally found them. So it's very difficult to go where they are, and just recently some have made their way out. And the thing is, with CITES, it doesn't distinguish between locales. It's only a species level. What about Parsons? Is they're gentle giants? I'm so glad they aren't aggressive. Yeah, their grip is so powerful. Yeah. If they were aggressive, that would be scary, but they're really not. Well, most of them. I'm sure once I say that, someone's going to walk up to the Parsons chameleon and get messed up. This is blue, my Parson, my blue, my yellow lip. And so, okay, so they are CITES too, which means that they're tightly regulated as to how they come out. They're only regulated at the species level. And so if and this is a problem because these populations are distinct populations, at least as far as we're concerned. As far as science is concerned, yeah, they're pretty much the same thing, but we can tell there's something different there, even if it's not part of the scientific definition right now. And what the problem is that CITES is they take population data of the species level. And so if there's a small section of where one locale lives, it could easily be decimated without affecting the entire species population. And so I would love it if they were a little bit more specific, but they're not. So that's something that I would love the world to work towards in the future. Interbreeding, yes, they can interbreed. And as I said before, that's a real problem because we can't identify the color locale of females, and we can't trust the identification that the exporter puts on. And so this is a case where if we need to prove them out, it's 5 years in the making to prove out a female. Not like a panther chameleon. That's a real pain in the butt to prove out a panther chameleon, but at least a panther chameleon, you can do it in 2 years. Parsons chameleons, no. So, the community raising Parsons chameleons, they got a lot of challenge. And as for the future in captivity, they will probably be represented for the foreseeable future. If nothing else, is because they can live 20 years. And so they will be around, and the breeders, you just have to be patient as a breeder because it may take you 5 years to get a clutch, and then 2 years before they're grown, and you can start seeing if you can breed them again. And so Parsons chameleon breeders need to be in it for the long term. At the very least, even though we have the problems, are we keeping the color locales pure? At the very least, we are going to be, Bill's crystal ball, we will be having Parsons Chameleons in the foreseeable future. And it's a worthy species to work with. Now, the price is probably going to come down as more and more people get successful breeding them. But as long as it doesn't go below $500, I think we're okay. I would like to see them at 1,000. Right now, they're about 2,000, and captive hatched are often more expensive than that. But as more and more people get successful, it will probably, I'm pretty sure it's going to come down. Oh, hey, Matthew's here. The yellow giant varies so much, it's crazy. Yeah. What are you guys talking about? We're talking about panther chameleons, James. You got any panther chameleons? And we're going to get some good comments from Matthew. Do you culture feeder bugs to keep up with their diet? Seems hard enough to have. Aquatic Moose, I get a subscription. I cannot keep up by breeding. I have a subscription for my roaches. So Matthew says, I would say that 80% of Parsons clutches that have been hatched in captivity are gravid wild-caught females. Matthew, I'd love to, if you can put into the chat, I'd love to put your assessment of how prevalent the interbreeding between color locales is presently in captivity. There's no way to know, but what's your feeling? And for those wondering, Matthew is a keeper of Parsons Chameleon, and should he, I don't know if I can, if I am at liberty to say what he has. Let's just say he has enough Parsons Chameleons that I absolutely value his opinion on Parsons Chameleons. Let's see. All right. So that is the end of my presentation on Parsons Chameleons. Does anybody have any final questions on Parsons Chameleons before we go into our case study, Treebeard case study? And if Matthew writes any more, I will put comments in because he knows what he's talking about. All right. Yeah. Can't keep up with the Parsons either. They eat too much of my colonies to catch. Oh yeah. They are voracious. And they'll give you if you let them brumate, then they'll give you a 4 to 6 month period to try to catch up. So, all right. So in this case, we're going to be talking about Treebeard. And for this, I would like to bring on our very own Eliza Ann. Hello.
Hi.
All right. Well, we are, many of you have heard that we have Treebeard updates occasionally. And I wanted to Eliza come on and share her experiences with Treebeard. And this is going to be something that's valuable for any of us who have any chameleon, because it is a story of finding a parasitic infection, dealing with the parasitic infection, and now dealing with the aftermath of that parasitic infection. And it's something that is common, so any of us could run into. Now, I'm sorry, let me bring up, this is the comment that I promised. It seems like there has been mixed clutches and they are willing to mate with females from different locales. So there you go, folks. It's a mess. And My green giant male. Okay, so now that he has publicly stated that his green giant male, that is whose green giant male I was able to take a picture of. That's how I got the picture when I visited Matthew. I didn't know if I was at liberty to say whose it was. Is only interested in one of my yellow giant females and shows no interest in the green giant female that he came with. All right. So we have a challenge ahead of us. Oh, hey, you've got a fan.
Yep, that's my darling husband.
Okay. All right. So I would, oh, yes. Love your Coffee and Chameleons t-shirt. So let us start with the next slide, which I'll just give you a little bit of a hint, goes into the calendar, but we'll get to that. So how about at this point, give us an introduction to this wonderful creature named Treebeard.
In what way? Like how I got him, or?
No, we'll go into the calendar of things, but I guess that's the information right there. Treebeard is the Ambulope Passer.
He's an Ambulope, and I love him dearly. My sweet little spicy, not so sweet boy.
All right, so then we'll go ahead and get into Treebeard's story. So let's talk about the events here, which are the first half to the wait a minute. That's the first half. I got my slides out of order. All right, so this is the first half of the story. We'll get to the second half. There's more to the story. So let's go ahead. What's up with Treebeard?
Okay, so I got him. He was my Christmas present to me in 2022, so not last year, but I found him on like KSL, so it's kind of like Craigslist. The family that was selling him, they were doing their best. I'm not trying to trash talk anyone. They were doing the best they could, but realized that they weren't able to properly care for him the way that he needed to live a good life. And so they were trying to find a good home. They vetted me like crazy. It was like, whoa, I am applying for something here. Like they were really trying to make sure they got him into a good home. So they obviously cared about him a lot. And the lady actually kept in touch with me for about a year after I got him, just every week. How's he doing? Wow. We went kind of through the parasite phase together. I would send her, there's not a lot of information about entoamoeba invadens. And so I would send her what I could find just because she was interested as well. So a good family. So I started to notice signs of declining fairly quickly. He was an expo baby. So I don't know if maybe that's where he picked it up potentially. I don't know. We'll never know. That's just my guess. Just because you could handle the person that sold him, you could handle his animals at the expo. So that's why I suspect that. And yeah, so I started to see signs of decline, and I created a spreadsheet so that I could start tracking. I was pretty new I'm still new at it, but chameleon keeping. And so I'm hearing all these things of like, document it like crazy because they're going to act fine at the vet. And he did. And so just every time I would see him with eyes closed, I would document in my spreadsheet, this time eyes closed, this time this, and just kept track of everything. I took videos of him with his eyes closed, pictures, you name it. So January through March, I was taking him to the vet to try and figure out what was going on. We were doing fecals, we were doing blood draws or whatever that's called. And we were not finding anything, and it was super frustrating. And then eventually, I don't know what day it was. Oh, 3/10. Thanks, Bill. On 3/10, one of his fecals finally came back positive for entoamoeba invaden. It was a moderate amount, I think was what they said. So he was treated with metronidazole for that. And I threw everything in his enclosure away and just scrubbed the crap out of that enclosure. Soap, hot, like as hot of water as I could stand. I scrubbed it out 3 times, let it sit with bleach, and just did the best I could to just try and get rid of as much as I could, just because it's one of those parasites that, like, what is it, insists, and it just hunkers down in the environment. And then when
yeah, I can give a little blurb about Entamoeba invadens.
Okay.
And I'll give you guys the Entamoeba invadens. That is a protozoan parasite, and it's a pretty bad character. It has an equivalent in human beings, Entamoeba histolytica, and this is what's responsible for amoebic dysentery, which kills millions of people a year. And the thing with Entamoeba, this particular invadens, is it will attack the intestinal lining. The thing is, if it gets bad enough that it gets through the intestinal lining and into the blood, then it will travel to the liver, which does all of the filtering, and it can cause damage to the liver. If it gets through the liver, then it can get into the brain and cause death. So when you have Entamoeba invadens, that is a serious diagnosis, and you got to treat it promptly and seriously. Now, there is a huge challenge because it's very difficult to identify Entamoeba invadens from something like Entamoeba coli, which is another kind of Entamoeba. The difference is that invadens will eat through your intestinal lining and kill you. Entamoeba coli will just stay right at the end of the digestive system and eat the poop. And so it's absolutely harmless. So just because you see Entamoeba cysts in the fecal doesn't mean you have a deadly parasitic disease. You could just have a commensal that's just hanging out that's causing no problems. And so this is where people start saying, okay, well, we better get a professional, send it to a professional lab to get a absolute diagnosis as to what species of Entamoeba this is. And as Eliza has shown here, it's treated with metronidazole, also known as Flagyl. So this ends your introduction to Entamoeba invadens. I will turn it back over to Eliza.
Okay. What do you want me to do?
So at this point, you successfully treated with metronidazole and Entamoeba was gone?
Yeah. So the vet said just 1, but I did 3. That's actually one of the biggest reasons why I took the parasite course, because if this comes back and I didn't get all of this, which I think is probably likely just because I'm being realistic, I want to be able to keep better track of what's going on in my animals' poops than just the occasional like fecal sent to the vet. I want to check every single one every single time if I possibly can. So yeah.
And that's smart, because the way Entamoeba, they reproduce by creating cysts, which are environmentally resistant. And then those cysts come out in the poop and can be spread around the cage. They're microscopic. So even just the poop hitting the ground, some of these cysts bounce off and they can hide in the cage. They will stay there for, I don't know how long the cyst is able to stay in the environment. It depends on how harsh the environment is, but they sit around waiting for a cricket to walk by and pick it up. And if the cricket picks it up on their legs, then they finally get in to the chameleon and they can continue the cycle. And so this is why we really like to clean our cages. All right. Now you're thinking, oh, well, okay, good story. Treebeard is out of the woods, right? Ha!
Wrong.
We have another half to the story.
Yeah. So I started to notice his eyes closed starting September 6th. So I I keep track with my spreadsheets, my handy dandy spreadsheets. Anytime everybody has their own spreadsheet, and anytime I see anything that might be something, I document it in there so that I can review it if I need to. So September 6th, I see his eyes closed, and start monitoring closely again. I continue to see signs of declining. I'm taking him to the vet. We're doing what we can.
Oh, all right. Well,
Did I?
there you go. You're back. You're back. You froze for a second there.
I think my internet's not my friend today. Do I need to backtrack? I don't know what was missed.
Yeah, just a little. Your eyes closed, and you take them into the vet.
Okay, so eyes closed. I'm continuing to see like signs like that of decline. So I'm documenting everything like crazy, like last time. And I start taking him to the vet. And October 11th, we did a blood test, which showed that he had an internal infection. So he was started on antibiotics. Continued to take to the vet. So we went weekly until we think, could there be more going on? Maybe, but until we think we figured out what was going on. So his October 24th fecal came back positive for coccidia. The interesting thing is it was a small amount. It wasn't a lot. So they started him on Panazaril with the antibiotic as well. And until he was like maybe like half-ish way back to himself, we kind of went to every 10 days for a vet visit. The reason I every 10 days, that was the minimum, is just because the antibiotic expired after 10 days and I'd have to get a new prescription. So another deep clean of his enclosure. Luckily, he is a little bit of a weirdo and he doesn't really poop in his enclosure. So if I can catch him on Saturdays, he poops once a week. He'll poop out on his pooping stick. When I ripped his enclosure apart this second time around, I just—
Is that his pooping stick?
So funny. Huh? He's getting—
Is that his pooping stick?
That's his pooping stick, yeah. Actually, all of them now, because if he poops on it, then that's infected, right? So I think my take on having this experience is he just needs an ultra clean environment because he's easily susceptible to getting sick. And so every time he poops on a stick, that goes in the trash, and I go dig into my bundle and I get him a new pooping stick for next week.
All right.
Yeah.
Two Turtle Time. Yes, Panazaril is administered orally in chameleons. Panazaril, totrazaril, and Albon are all orally for chameleons. So, all right. So, how's he doing now?
Good. So he finished his last. So the Panazaril, at first, the vet wanted to do like the more intense dosage of it, where you give it so many days for so long. I can't remember the process of it, but after they got the results back and saw that it was a small amount, they switched it to the I gave him one on a Friday night, one dose, and then another dose 48 hours later, and then
that's our standard Panazaril dosing.
Okay. They did change it when they saw that amount. Because at first, when I talked to the vet, he was like, we might need to do a lot. But we didn't end up doing. Yeah. Anyways, what was your question? I went on a different tangent.
Yeah, we're just, and by the way, did you want to do a side gig here?
Sure. Yeah.
James wants to buy chameleon poop sticks.
I just find them in my yard. I don't know why.
Yeah, there's something special about your yard, obviously. So yeah. Premium.
I don't know. Yeah, I don't know why he does it. I really don't. He just will come out and poop, and then he'll go back in. If I try to put him in his enclosure before he poops, he gets mad and he'll gape at me. He also has a free range tree, and he will not go on that until he poops. So he doesn't poop in his free range. Yeah, he's super polite. It's good. So yeah, I just hold a bag underneath him and he poops in the bag and we're good to go.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's I know Miller's chameleons really like to have a poop spot.
Do they?
Yeah, I haven't heard about a panther chameleon that is this fastidious about where it poops. Oh,
Yeah, he's an oddball. Even when I ripped his enclosure apart, I only found 2 poops that I had missed.
okay.
Which I don't dig around in their enclosures a lot unless if there's a reason to. So it's not a
Okay.
lot. I would have expected to find more, but yeah. So
All right. Well, this is an example of some things that we have to go through when we have our chameleons, and especially when we care enough to check for them. And parasites are really difficult. You notice something significant about this case study is that coccidia wasn't detected in the first fecal in the first round. And you wonder, well, wait a minute, how
several
can that be?
actually.
What was that?
Several actually. I kept turning in poops and all of them would come back negative. It was just that one that came back positive for a little bit of coccidia.
Okay, Matthew's asking, what's the difference between the medication you used in Panicure? Panicure fenbendazole is for nematodes, and it is mostly effective in the gut. And so Panazarole is effective against coccidia, and metronidazole flagyl is effective against the other protozoa. For some reason, even though coccidia is a protozoa, metronidazole does not get coccidia. So yes, Panicure is for nematodes. Let's see. Okay. Mine wants me to take him to a certain Syngonium branch to poop before I let him anywhere else in the greenhouse. these crazy things. Oh, yeah. So Panazarole is developed for horses and cows. Yes, so much of this, just about everything we use has been developed for livestock, and our poor veterinarians have to figure it out. So basically, this shows to show you what a job it is to deparasitize a chameleon, because the coccidia didn't show up in the first half of this story, yet it somehow showed up in the second half. So where did it come from? Don't know. Was it hiding all this time? I mean, that's not in coccidia's life cycle to do that, but there's so much we don't know. Can you imagine how hard it is for scientists to track the life cycle of a microscopic parasite, and they can't always reproduce the life cycle in a lab? In fact, Entamoeba invadens is a perfect example of this. The human equivalent to Entamoeba invadens, Entamoeba histolytica, is not studied in the labs because they can't get it to go through all of its life cycles. Our reptile Entamoeba invadens is what's studied in the lab when they want to figure out how to treat histolytica, because they can get invadens to go through all the life cycles changes. And so you can imagine with these parasites changing life cycles, changing form a number of times through their life cycle, how in the world is a scientist supposed to track that? So there's with everything that we know about parasites, there are still so many questions out there. And if you like challenges, join me and my merry band of Columinati in studying parasites. It's a lot of fun. So and let's see. So the compound has to be diluted significantly to treated reptiles that are measured in grams. Yes, this is absolutely correct. And Matthew's saying, I only worry about Cryptosporidium now. And Cryptosporidium, luckily don't see that often in chameleons. It's one of those rare parasites in chameleons. But Cryptosporidium it's like a super coccidia. It's about half the size of coccidia. It's really hard to detect. You need a special PCR test to be really sure as to what it is. And it is not affected by the coccidial medicines. In fact, we don't have a medicine that is effective against Cryptosporidium. And if you needed even more reason to hate/fear Cryptosporidium, it auto-infects. So yes, it'll send oocysts out into the world, but it also holds back some oocysts to reinfect the host that was carrying it. And so this is why Cryptosporidium is such a dangerous parasite. And I'm sure many of you have seen the video Reptiliatus, Diane Solani just released it, I think today, about how he had Cryptosporidium in his collection and had to deal with it, spent 5 months dealing with it. It's a pretty powerful thing. And this is a lesson to us all. The only thing that we know that can kill Cryptosporidium is the chameleon, the reptile's immune system, because the immune system will learn Cryptosporidium and will limit Cryptosporidium. And so this is why it's so important for us to get our husbandry as dialed in as possible. Now, will they ever get rid of Cryptosporidium? Probably not. The animal, even if it learns to live with Cryptosporidium, even if it's healthy, it can be healthy for its entire life. Its immune system can rein in that Cryptosporidium so where it never gets sick, but it still will be releasing, be infectious. And so, Matthew, you have chosen a valid thing to worry about. So, all right. Crypto seems it is more common in snakes. There are cases where we do have some cases in chameleons, but very rare, thankfully. So, all right. Do we have any more questions about a tree beard and for Eliza? Go ahead and put those down in the comments right now, and then we will get into a discussion about what the Chameleon Academy is going to be looking like for the next 2 months, because we have a whole lot of disruption about to happen. Wonderful disruption, incredible disruption, but disruption nonetheless.
One thing I would add with all of this is my vet suspects that his liver was damaged from the entoamoeba. And so without doing like an MRI, I'm not a doctor, clearly. I think it's an MRI. To take pictures and like see what his liver looks like. We won't know for sure. So what we're doing right now is just seeing how things kind of play out for him. If his liver is damaged, he is more susceptible to getting sick or having infections, things like that. So what that looks like on my end is just making sure that his husbandry is like dialed in and he has no stressors or as little stressors as possible. So making sure he's got a densely planted enclosure. I've got a camera on him. So the second I see eyes closed, like we're going back to the vet. I've my like sensors for the temperature and humidity. They're set to give alarms on my phone. So if things get too high or too low, it tells me and I can make adjustments in the moment. So those are the things that I'm doing to try and like lessen. He's in a room that's lower traffic, so he doesn't get bothered by all of us humans. But basically what could potentially happen is as his life goes on, I may see infections crop up and we'll just have to treat it if that's the case. Thank you, Nate. Oh. Sorry. I do love him. That was very sweet. So we might just have to treat him occasionally every year or two or whatever from infections. If it comes back, if he starts to decline, he just ended his antibiotic not too long ago. If he gets sick again quickly, that means we missed something else that's going on and we're still playing Nancy Drew. So that's kind of what that looks like on my end.
Okay. And I love that you took such good notes. And so we were all able to benefit from this. Thank you very much for sharing this story.
Yeah. If anyone ever has a similar issue, please let me know, because I would love to be a support, even if it's just listening to you, because it sucked to go through. So I don't want anybody to like go through it alone. It's hard. But I'm happy to share what worked for me and anything like that. So please let me know.
Okay, we have an uprising in the community. More Parsons Chameleon Academy. Oh, I agree. More Parsons. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. All right. So everybody loves Parsons. So let's see. You're around more. Let's do out if Brumation Spring Parsons episode. You want to do a Brumation episode in spring? We can do that. Question for you, Eliza. Do you have other chameleons and were they affected?
Oh, yeah. That's, I guess, another part. So just knowing that he had entoamoeba and it could, from what I understand, it can hunker down in the body and come back. So he's in his own room. He will always only be in his own room, just to lessen the odds of somebody else in my collection getting infected. That looks like he has a lot of his own things are separate or kept separate, so that minimizes risk. Since he got sick the first time, I got into a routine of everything that I do for my chameleons. I do the other bunch first, and then he's last. He's the last one to eat. He's the last one to get his drainage tray sucked out, all of that stuff. I use gloves when I do all of that fun stuff, all of that. So that's just kind of a permanent way to try and help lessen, hopefully, that ever spreading. I hope it never does, but if it does, I'll deal with it, I guess.
Yeah. Once you have these parasites, then you're hyper aware of everything that you touch, and everything that you touch and then wash your hands, but then you touch that again, you go, oh, wait a minute, did I just dirty my hands with something? That's just
Yeah. So what I'm doing, like cleaning wise, this is something my dear friend Stephanie helped me. She does a really good like cleaning routine with her chameleons, and so I kind of yoinked some of that from her and some from actually Tyler. So every like 3 months, so once a month I sanitize everybody's enclosure, or it's a rotation, man. So 1 month is somebody, the next month is somebody. I clean everybody's, anything that touches any kind of food. So their feeder cups, all of that's like cleaned and sanitized once a week. And so I'm hoping that will help with that too, is just making sure nothing gets spread around. Okay. Lots of cleaning.
Joanne, thank you very much. And Matthew, thank you very much. Appreciate the support. All right. Well, we're going to go into, and by the way, Liza, do you want to hang out, or do you want to go back into the...
I like being in the background, so if nobody has any other questions for me, I will go back into the chat.
All right. You've done a great job, Eliza. Treebeard is extremely lucky to have you. Thank you, Eliza Ann. You're an awesome guest star. Treebeard is the best. All right, then I will let you go back to your life in the crowd.
In the chat. Okay, thank you.
Okay, everybody. Okay, so what's going on? As we know, we're coming into the holidays. We're coming into a very special time for the Chameleon Academy in January. And so this is what our outreach is going to look like. For the rest of December, I'm going to be continuing doing the lives on Saturday and Tuesday night. Now, I'm not going to be doing the micro learning like I experimented with this week, and I really like the format. It's just like what we do today, where there's a presentation. We still talk about whatever other Chameleon stuff comes around, but we have a presentation. I really like it. And so that is what I'm going to, that's what I'm going to do for this outreach in starting in 2025. So that was an experiment. It worked great. So for the rest of this December, it's just going to be what we used to do, where I would come on, we talk, we hang out, and we prepare for next year. Because next year, it's one of the things I'm going to do is I need to update the ChameleonAcademy.com website. And so we are going to spend the year updating it together. And all those subject areas that are on the website need to be updated. And so we're going to go over each one of those sections here on live as I update it. And so if you've not gone through all of that material for years, I mean, we're coming up on the 5-year anniversary, then this is a chance to get refreshed on all of this information and what we've discovered since. So we will be continuing throughout the month of December. Obviously, Christmas Eve and New Year's Eve, not a whole lot of people will come on those, but I still want to do those Tuesday nights. It's kind of a fun thing. We come together and we just hang out. It's a low key, but it's just fun to have that community connection. So we will do that. Now, as far as the other channel that I have, the Bill Strand channel, where we talk about YouTube stuff and creators, tomorrow I have Annalise, the All Canadian Reptile Girl. She's going to come in at 1 p.m. Pacific for the interview, and then we're going to have the Christmas cookie baking at 5 p.m. Pacific, and she's coming in with her recipe here. Now, the last show of the season is going to be next Sunday, a week from Sunday, the 22nd, and I'm going to let you guys in on this now. It's going to be a special episode where me and Adam Wickens are going to be baking pickle cookies. Don't miss that. Nothing says Christmas like pickle cookies. So that's going to be happening on the 22nd. You'll hear about that next week. And so, all right. January is going to be, I don't have any shows planned in January until I get back from Madagascar, but we will be, you'll be seeing a lot on the different, like Instagram is a great place for it, or the virtual campus. So those of you who have joined the virtual campus, you're definitely going to get, that's all you need to do. You'll get it all there. But between Instagram and sometimes on YouTube, we're going to be giving you updates as to what's been going on in Madagascar. And so there's nothing planned, but there's going to be a lot of stuff coming out. We just don't know when, because we don't know when we're going to be where and when we're going to have internet access. So it's like we'll be doing a lot of stuff, taking a lot of videos, and then we'll upload it whenever we can get to good internet. So it'll be sporadic and chaotic through that time, but it's certainly not going to be dark. And then we're going to start back up at the end of January with the micro learning, and we're going to hit it hard. It is going to be, I am looking forward to this. A lot of fun. So let's see. And by the way, I'm going to go through the chat now. Anybody have any questions? Let me know. Oh, Captain Wiggins, thank you very much for that support. Appreciate that. So, all right. So Eliza Ann used F10 to sanitize. Lucillin, I've not tried that. Geraldine says, I'm enjoying the microlearning. Excellent. I'm glad. So people, yes, the microlearning is like the Parsons locales that we did today. That's the microlearning. The last time when we did what did we do last time? I forget. Brumation. That's right. So we'll be taking topics like that to discuss them. Matthew says, I just had 3 carpet chameleons hatch. Yeah, that is awesome. Awesome. Thank you very much, Marsha Ann. Appreciate that. So let's see. Congratulations, Matt. Christmas cookie bake-off. Yes, and tomorrow's bake-off. Okay, so for those that don't know, on Sunday evenings, I have another channel. It's called the Bill Strand channel on YouTube. I just call it Bill Strand because it has a lot of various things, miscellaneous things. But mainly it's about how to start a YouTube channel for people in the community or reptile community. And so at 1 p.m., I have an interview with a certain person, a YouTuber. And at 5 p.m. Pacific, I do a bake-off where me and some reptile community person, we bake cookies together and we talk about it. We talk about the reptile community. We talk about YouTube as a medium, and you can ask any questions. It just kind of became a real fun thing. And so that's what we're doing. And the reason why it's fun is because I'm only barely passable in the kitchen. And so I'm learning as we go. And but this is going to be Christmas cookies. But you know what? I found my chameleon cookie cutters. And so I'm going to be making veiled chameleon, panther chameleon, and O'Shaughnessy chameleon cookies. So that's going to be my fun thing. Pickled chameleons sound nasty. Well, I don't know. I'll let you know because I'll know a week from Sunday. I try a pickled community. Yes, I would. I'm going to try it too. Yes, Adam Wickens is known for being a pickle connoisseur. So I knew that there'd be no one else that I could have on this show baking cookies other than Adam. It had to be Adam for this one. Thank you, James Cross. Really appreciate the support. Love pickles, but I don't know about pickle cookies. We'll find out. We'll find out. Adam couldn't survive it. Yeah, he likes his pickles. So, okay. Is that an inside joke thing? I don't watch him. Yeah, if you know Adam Wickens, he is known for loving pickles. It's like yes, it's a huge thing in the Wickens universe. So, hopefully they are just no, sir. There is actual pickles as part of the ingredients, but apparently it's good. So hey, we're gonna try it. So, love the micro learning for excellent. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. So, and of course we all pick teams, and Marsha Ann has been reliably on my team. I'm a little bit dismayed at how many of my loyal followers are supporting my opponent, but Marsha Ann has been a loyal follower. So, all right. And everybody, if you're the newsletter, for those of you who are on the newsletter, this is, and if you're not on the newsletter, go to the chameleonacademy.com website and join the newsletter. The last newsletter, or the next newsletter, which will be the last newsletter of the year, will be on the 31st. And that's going to be a end of year newsletter, end of year thoughts. And so that'll go out on the 31st, and I will resume the newsletter at the end of January. So go ahead, join the newsletter if you're not part of it. And if you are, know that that's the schedule. There's nothing wrong. I've just reduced the number of times I'm doing it because I'm getting ready for Madagascar, and I will be in Madagascar. So that's going to be a heck of a lot of fun. We are loyal, Eliza Ann says, who has consistently supported my opponents. I tell you, all right. Well, we're all a family. I know. So, I will pass on those. What kind of cookies we're talking about? Pickle cookies, good at best. Oh, you've tasted them before. All right, everybody, you are all going to have to try pickle cookies. So at least be there next, the Sunday, the 22nd, and we'll talk about it. You can't let the guests feel pickle. All right, you're right. And I appreciate you making them feel at home. Bill, this has been a fantastic program. Very impressed with how well the chameleon community approaches husbandry and keeping. Amazing. I am glad you have enjoyed it, and we're glad to have you, Aquatic Moose. All right, everybody, do you have any final questions? It's been, oh my goodness, it's been a year, and we are coming to the end. I thank you very much for being here. It's been an incredible community. Any last questions, let me know. And then I will let you get on with your weekend. But join us tomorrow. It's on the Bill Strand YouTube channel, not the Chameleon Academy YouTube channel. I've got two YouTube channels, and they're different because the Chameleon has this stuff that we're talking about, and it's all about chameleons. The other channel has all my stuff about YouTube, how to do social media and all that kind of stuff. It's kind of a general purpose. It's a good idea for me to separate the two. So I know it's a little bit confusing and saying, okay, where is Bill this time? Sundays, I'm on the Bill Strand YouTube channel. And on Saturdays, I'm on Chameleon Academy. So just go there. Join us tomorrow at 1 p.m. It's live interactive Q&A, just like this. And then at 5 p.m. for the cookie thing. Oh, wait. We have one question. My own question, Bill, have you packed yet? Because I'm ready to go. Can we go early? No, I have not packed yet. I better pack. I got to do it now. Anybody going to Madagascar, you better be packing now, because it's going to get to the point where if you buy stuff, it's not going to get in time. Last time we went to Madagascar, I missed my headlamp and it came like the day after I had left. So pack now, and I got to do that. Oh boy. And then James wants to go early. Oh, Matthew, do you have any chameleon breeding goals for this year? Absolutely. My shamrock chameleons, Kaluma O'Shaughnessy, that is my focus. I've got a good mating. Now I just need the eggs to be fertile. So I've been able to get matings. I've been able to get clutches of eggs. I've not been able to get a fertile clutch of eggs. So I'm working on my ability to do it. And of course, I don't know that I can do it until I help somebody else do it. And once I can help other people do it, then I know I've got it. But until then, good luck. So, all right, everybody, thank you very much. I'm going to say goodbye, and we'll see you tomorrow. And the next time I'll be here on Chameleon Academy will be the Tuesday, because I'll still be doing those shows. See you all. Have a great weekend.